Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the country. Now, you're probably wondering, why should I watch over here instead of over there? Because over there, they don't care about anything you have to say. They don't read any of the comments. They talk down to us. They say that we're just a bunch of clowns on YouTube, Twitter. But I think it's the opposite. I think we know exactly what we're talking about. So I read every single comment. So if you think what I'm saying is the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, let me know in the comments below. If you think what I'm saying is the most amazing thing you've ever heard, then also let me know. Either way, let's get into some fights, let's have some discussions, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and it's turning into something truly, truly special, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. So without further ado, let's get to it. We're watching a clip of First Things First, talking about Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy's future with the Dallas Cowboys. I didn't watch this clip, but I can obviously have it queued up, and I can see where Jerry Jones on McCarthy's future. I haven't thought 1 second about it. Yeah, that is the most nonsense BS lie I've ever heard. Literally before he said, we'll see what happens, in terms of McCarthy's future. And then he had to quickly backtrack that and be like, no, I don't know what else I could say to give more confidence, behind McCarthy. He's under contract, this, that. It's like, well, you're the one that said, we'll see how the playoffs go. So you're the one that put that out there. And there's just no way that they get smoked and you're not thinking about it. It's just, it's just crazy. I think you would absolutely let go of Mike McCarthy. It depends. Okay. I just said you would absolutely let go of Mike McCarthy, and then I said it depends. So the real question is who do you think is not good enough? Is Mike McCarthy a really good coach, but Dak Prescott isn't a good enough quarterback? And now Mike McCarthy has kind of maximized Dak Prescott? Or is Dak Prescott a really good quarterback who hasn't had a good head coach to really take everyone to the next level? That's the question that you have to ask. Because it's really interesting. Dak Prescott played terrible and did awful. And then the headlines were, Dak Prescott saying, Mike McCarthy, I want Mike McCarthy to stay. Whatever it was like the headline was pretty much saying that Dak Prescott backs Mike McCarthy. And it's just really funny because it's like, bro, where do you think that your spot on the team is so solidified that people should be looking to you to be like, are you good enough? Because your playoff record is garbage. Your record against winning teams is garbage. So where do you think that you're just like automatically safe and that you're just the quarterback for in perpetuity with the Dallas Cowboys? Like, I don't think so. And that's a delusion that kind of Cowboys fans as a whole have, and just the organization as a whole have. They're constantly just looking at their coach and never their quarterback. They never look to upgrade from a Romo or a Dak or anything like that. They're always just happy with like a pretty good quarterback, good, can get the job done, can win some games, but can't win those big games, can't really compete and play well when it matters. That has been consistently who the Dallas Cowboys have been, and that is definitely who the Dallas Cowboys have been with Dak Prescott. And so I don't know if you just magically, right, if you got a great head coach, if that just magically changes everything. I don't know. I think if you got a true bona fide genius head coach like the McVays, like the Shanahans, and there's obviously only so many of those coaches out there, right? I mean, we don't know if Ben Johnson actually ends up being that way. We don't know if Shane Steichen completely ends up being that way. I mean, we believe those coaches will become these elite coaches into the future, but we don't know. Shanahan is proven. McVay is proven. And even Shane Steichen has done it now with multiple quarterbacks, right? Shane Steichen has done it with Justin Herbert, and then he did it with Jalen Hurts, and then he almost got into the playoffs with Gardner Minshew, right? Like, so he's kind of proven his resume, so to speak. So that's just one of those things. So you have to kind of ask yourself, where does the blame lie? Do you need to upgrade at quarterback, or do you need to upgrade at coach, or do you need to do both? That's what it comes down to. And it's just to say that Jerry Jones hasn't thought about it makes no sense. You're right.
Do you think this could lead to a coaching change?
I think the biggest thing is, we're we're disappointed. I got a whole team in the locker rooms that's hurting, and that's I haven't thought past the outcome of this game.
I won't get into any of the addressing of any aspects of it, any part of it, from the coaching to the players to what's around the corner.
Okay, Bruce, should McCarthy be fired?
I think yes. All right. I mean, he was undressed yesterday by the guy who replaced him in Green Bay. They weren't ready offensively. They weren't ready defensively. I mean, they were a mess against, again, the youngest team in the playoffs since 1974. All right. And now, look, he's obviously had the 3 great regular seasons, but they are 1-3 under him in the playoffs. 2 of those losses are at home.
In the first round.
Home first round. Here's the quarterbacks. Jimmy Garoppolo. He's a winner, but still, all right? A rookie Brock Purdy who was making his 7th start. That's not even Brock Purdy now. Yeah. That is your 7th start. And then yesterday, Jordan Love.
Or not a rookie, but a first-year starter.
Yeah, first-year starter, first playoff game ever. Yeah. And if you're S-Bob, Super Bowl or bust, which we know they are, and this year more than anything, they should have been. Things were falling in line. Now, they still would have had to get by San Francisco. But everything else was falling in line from them. And you are at home, and everything went opposite the way it did regular season. They didn't score. I don't care about the 32 points. We know they didn't score when they needed to.
48-16.
And you were averaging almost 40 at home during the regular season. So, yeah, look, there's one name. I don't know who it would be other than this guy, but if Jerry Jones is serious about winning the Super Bowl, then he should have been on the phone last night with Bill Belichick, working out what do you need from us. I'm serious. Belichick will fix the defense, which is probably their biggest problem. I mean, Dak, obviously you got questions, but they ran all over that defense.
Oh, I disagree. Defense is the biggest problem. Right now, my biggest concern is.
I thought everyone loved Dallas's defense, and that's why Dan Quinn has 4 interviews for head coaching jobs. So that doesn't make any sense. And so how's Bill Belichick? What is Bill Belichick going to do? I hope the Cowboys get Bill Belichick as an Eagles fan, because that'll be hilarious to watch, because that'll just be the Cowboys continuing to go back in time and just, I mean, do you really think if Bill Belichick was the coach that magically now, changes? Dak Prescott magically doesn't start throwing those interceptions and play poorly? No. Would the defense probably play better? Sure. But, when it comes down to it, when you have a young, healthy, good quarterback with a young, very smart, intelligent offensive head coach, what history has shown us right now is they beat those defensive head coaches, which is why offensive head coaches are taking over the NFL, and someone like a Bill Belichick is just old news.
The quarterback play come the playoffs. That would be my biggest concern.
I mean, he was bad. I can't defend that.
Because the defense over the – I don't –
They get run on, though.
They do get run on, but I thought that was more of a coaching – I thought that was Matt LaFleur saying, I know what you're going to do, Dan Quinn, and I'm going to take advantage of it. And Dan Quinn, listen, like I said, he was in the head coaching, circles as far as if McCarthy gets fired, could he get the job, whatever it is. I love that. Obviously, Mike McCarthy
do that, please.
That is not too harsh. That is not too reactionary. That is the standard right now. I want to show this 12-win graphic again, because we expanded it. So I know that's a lot of information, so I'll distill it for you. That's all the teams that have had at least 3 straight 12-win seasons. Yeah. And what you'll see is all of them made at least one.
Look at that. This is why you guys always want to call me out for being an Eagles fan. The Eagles went to, when they made 3, they had 3 in a row, and then they went to 3 conference champion games in a row. And actually, there was the other year where they didn't have 12 games, but they still went, where they went to 4 in a row, and then they went to the Super Bowl. Yes, they didn't win the Super Bowl, but they still did something. The Cowboys at the top of that list, 3-0. No conference champion game, no Super Bowl appearance, no Super Bowl win. I mean, that's just wild. Wild.
One, if not multiple conference championship games at the very least. And all of them made a Super Bowl, or if they didn't, they had already won a Super Bowl with that quarterback.
And again,
there.
this is
So
with
the
an extra
Packers, the
game.
Saints and the Niners during that run didn't go to a Super Bowl, but they had won one previously. I mean, of those, I did the math here. 46 times, you add all those up together aside from the Cowboys, you have 32 conference championship game appearances, 18 Super Bowl appearances, 11 Super Bowl wins. The Cowboys are zeros across the board. Yeah. So here's to me the more complicated part of it, Wilds, and this is what I want to throw at you. I agree with Brew. I'd try to go hire Bill Belichick. If I can't get Bill Belichick, and I'm going Vrabel or Jim Harbaugh or Eric Bieniemy, a younger coach, whatever it is, the next conversation I'm having is
Dak Prescott.
Okay. If it's Belichick, we are trying to win right now in a 3-year win.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If it's not Belichick, the next conversation I'm having is, would we rather have Dak Prescott at $60 million a year or call up a team like New England and see if they'll give us the 3rd pick of the draft for him?
I mean, Mac Jones.
Now, by the way, Dak has a no trade, so he'd have to play ball. But Dak is going to be looking for a contract extension this offseason that will make him the highest paid in the league.
And they need to give it to him to get some room.
Well, and they need to give it to him if they want to keep him. And if they don't give it to him, they not only don't create the room, but you can't tag him in a year. He could leave for nothing in a year. And if I am looking over the Cowboys and I say CeeDee Lamb deserves a ton of money, is going to get it. Yep. Micah Parsons deserves a ton of money, is going to get it. Do I think we are going to be able to essentially have those two superstars and one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league and then tear everything else away, or try to reset the quarterback pay scale clock with a top 5 pick?
It's basically the Niners strategy.
Exactly right.
That's the Niners.
Exactly right.
We agree on McCarthy. Got to go. I'm keeping Dak. As bad as he was yesterday, and I don't think he's elite. You clearly can't put the team on his back. That's what happened. He can beat up on the tomato cans as the guy, but they need a run game. Belichick.
No, see, you can't keep Dak at the rate that you're paying him. If you can pay Dak cheaper, then you can keep Dak, and then you can build a team around him. But you completely just hold your team hostage when you have to pay Dak all this money, because then you can't pay Parsons, CeeDee Lamb. You can't pay all these other players, or you have to just hit home run after home run after home run in the draft. And that's hard to do and unlikely. So there's just no way. So, I think in a lot of ways you got to blow it up. I mean, seriously, you've already been doing this with Dak for like 7-8 years or whatever. I mean, like, how long are you going to keep doing this? I mean, I don't know. I mean, the only way you keep Dak is if you're able to get an elite head coach that you really believe can take everything to the next level. And you give him like 1 year with Dak, okay? And you see what he does with Dak, and if Dak really looks elite, and see what happens. Kind of almost like what the Broncos kind of did with Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. And it was like, all right, Sean Payton reached a conclusion, right or wrong. He said, Russell Wilson's not my guy, let's move on. And that's what they're, that's what they're doing, and that's what it appears they're doing. Time will tell how that ends up. But, Shanahan moved on from Trey Lance. I mean, obviously Trey Lance is not Dak, and Trey Lance never really truly got an opportunity, but, Purdy stepped up. Purdy was playing. They said, all right, we got rid of Trey Lance. And they gave up a lot to get Trey Lance. Don't forget that. They made some serious moves to go up and get Trey Lance. So that ended up being a really big deal, that Trey Lance did not end up being who Trey Lance was supposed to. But when you have a good, young, offensive head coach, you make moves and you're able to do things. And because of that, they're not paying Purdy any money. And then they were able to get all these other players. Same thing with the Eagles, okay? They got Carson Wentz off the books. They traded him to the Colts. They had Jalen Hurts step up, and they were paying Jalen Hurts nothing. And they were able to pay for A.J. Brown. They were able to re-sign, Kelsey, Lane Johnson. I mean, they were able to build this team around. They were able to get some running backs. They were able to do things. And what did they do? They made it to the Super Bowl, and it really, really matters. It really, really made a difference. And so, And the Cowboys just kind of refuse to make those decisions, to make those hard decisions, to make these aggressive moves. It doesn't seem to be in Jerry Jones's DNA. And on one side, I can appreciate that, actually, honestly. I mean, he's like this big time, obviously billionaire, has obviously been successful in every aspect of his life. And he seems to be pretty loyal and take care of his players. He gives, oh my God, I can't think of the coach's name, Jason Garrett, right? Is that his name? Can't think of it right now. He gave him plenty of years, and he's given Mike McCarthy, actual, time. And given Dak time, he's not that cutthroat in a lot of ways, which I can appreciate, because it seems like a lot of these ultra successful people can be pretty cutthroat, and it's like you either, produce or get the heck out of here, which on a human level, I can appreciate and respect and say that's actually pretty cool. But when you're trying to compete and win, it's like, well, what are we doing here? And the teams that take the chances, the teams that take big swings, typically end up, doing better and end up, making out more often than not. And that's why you have typically these consistent teams that are always in contention to win a Super Bowl, like the 49ers, like the Eagles. Like the Rams. They had Jared Goff. Okay, Jared Goff took them to a Super Bowl. They didn't think that he was good enough, and it was very cutthroat, and said goodbye. I don't feel too bad for Jared Goff because he still got paid, what was it, $150 million? I don't feel bad for anyone who gets paid that amount of money. Okay, so no sir here. But they went and got Stafford. Stafford was obviously at that time a better quarterback, a more seasoned vet, could do what Sean McVay wanted to do, and they won a Super Bowl. You got to take big swings. You got to take, chances. And the Cowboys just refuse to do that. So that's the way I see it. I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts on this one. Should Mike McCarthy be fired? What do you think the Dallas Cowboys should do? Do they move on from Dak? Do they move on from both, like the Eagles did? The Eagles fired their coach. The Eagles got rid of their starting quarterback. They had a new head coach and a new starting quarterback. Boom. Within a year and a half, they went to the Super Bowl. And now the next year, they're back in the playoffs and, have a chance to make technically another run. Unlikely, but still competitive. Still doing something productive, Can't necessarily say that for many other teams, and definitely can't say that for the Dallas Cowboys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please don't forget to subscribe. I'm trying to build a community here that I think is really turning into something special, and I would love to see you part of it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. It really helps with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.